What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this, we have every Hindu denomination explained. We got a long video, so strap in and let's do it. Before we do, though, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. Also, if you like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Let's get to it.
Today, we're going to be discussing all the different sects of Hinduism. Hinduism is not a single religion, but a vast spiritual ecosystem of countless paths, each offering a different way to understand the universe. Time isn't necessarily linear in Hindu reincarnation philosophy, but some traditions suggest that rebirth doesn't just move forward, it can move sideways, backwards, or even drop you into another timeline entirely. So Vishnu is a big deal.
Oh, wow.
He's a divine figure who steps in when the universe is teetering on the edge of chaos. Shiva, the god of destruction. He's both a figure of peace, but also immense power. His weapon of choice, a trident. Hindu karma is a long game. Your actions today might not catch up with you until your next lifetime. Some people worship Vishnu, some worship Shiva, some worship goddesses, some worship everything, and even some worship nothing at all. And guess what? They're all Hindu. So let's get into the details, all right? Hinduism, the open world RPG of religions, the ultimate role player game.
The ultimate world RPG. It's wild, like so many, like in a religion, you can have so many like kind of different beliefs inside of the same religion. But at the end of the day, so many people interpret things very differently. It doesn't mean anybody's right. It just means they're coming from a different perspective and they see things. Like in Christianity, there's so many different sections within Christianity. Like for example, like Mormons, Baptists, Catholics, and so forth and so forth, and that kind of perceive the Bible differently. Some are very, very strict on certain rules. Some are more about Jesus's love and forgiveness, and so forth and so forth. And so it's just very interesting. And you can't help but feel like humanity has played a role in like picking and choosing and creating these different sections of a religion in a sense. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Do I just sound stupid babbling on like this? Tell me y'all thoughts.
What's up, people, and welcome back to camp. That's right, this is not just regular camp, this is religion camp. This is the place where we explore the most interesting, fascinating, and controversial stories of all religions from around the world.
Let's do it.
Today I'm joined by my friend and producer, Christos, the Greek freak. You don't get to see him, but just know that he's 6'5", chiseled, jacked, horny, full head of hair. He's a great guy. And also, I'm wearing brand new Camp Goods clothing, hat. It's not merch. That's for damn sure. It's not merch. It's a brand new brand, the greatest brand in outerwear, trailwear, all that stuff. You can cop it at campgoods.co. We probably should change that name soon because we're going to get sued. But regardless, today, I just want to say hello and namaste to all my Hindu brethren, all the brown boys out there. Not exclusively brown, but I've yet to meet like a white Hindu outside of maybe like one of Akash Singh's stand-up clips. You see a couple.
I'm sure there's got to be a couple white. There's got to be white people around the world, definitely, that practice Hindu. There's definitely got to be. There may not be a ton, but there's got to be some white people around the world that practice Hinduism. So
white Hindus in there, but that's basically it. All right, predominantly the brown boys. And today we're going to be discussing all the different sects of Hinduism. This is a new topic to me. I'll be honest with you. Again, I'm not Hindu. I didn't grow up Hindu. I have long hair. So maybe I'm more Punjabi than anything. Maybe I'm sick, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about Hinduism. All right. So this is a topic and some research that came to me from my friend Zach, my good old buddy Zach, put this together. So I'm going to be learning and reading along with you guys. Okay. So I'm going to be Googling stuff. And to all my Hindu brothers, I'm probably going to get some of this wrong. So please comment and let me know what I missed. But let's begin. All right. When you think of Hinduism, what do you think? Christos, what are you thinking of right now? Go.
Elephants.
You racist motherfucker. Golly, I hate, why can't you just have a pure mind?
I'm gonna love this video already. we take Hinduism. What do you think? Elephants. You racist mother. From videos I've seen, I think Hinduism is absolutely amazing. And I guess it's gonna be hard because I'm not very educated in Hinduism, but from the limited knowledge that I have, when I think of Hinduism, I think of a respect for all living things, not just for human beings, but for everything around you, for the animals, for the plants, for like having respect for all of it. I think of the ability to question, the ability to question everything. Like you don't have to, because it says this, you have to believe this, and you're not allowed to question it. You just have to blindly follow. No, I think Hinduism allows the ability to question things, which to me is amazing because I love to question everything. It allows you to seek knowledge, seek those answers, right? So I think it's an incredible religion. You have definitely so many gods. You think of the temples. You think of the Mahabharata or Bharat. You think of the timeline that the Earth is on. There's so many things. You think of Krishna. You think of Vishnu. You think of all of these different things. And again, that's just my very, very limited knowledge of Hinduism. And so the more I learn, I feel like the more I know about the religion.
And be open-minded about other religions from around the world, okay?
Sacred cows.
It's even worse. I cannot believe, I'm sorry guys for Christos, he's not normally like this. I think of the Kama Sutra, a guy making food with his feet. Yoga.
Yeah.
Is that worse?
About yoga.
That's worse.
All right. Well, I think of a lot of things. Okay, I think of chicken tikka masala. Sometimes I think of like a blue guy playing a flute. But there's a lot more to Hinduism than just that. Yeah, that's like saying like Christianity is just about Christmas and Chick-fil-A or something. You know? It's not. It's more than just, some feel-good philosophy or lifestyle choice. In the West, I think a lot of white people in the West kind of co-opt Hinduism and make it mean different things. But Hinduism has a long, deep history. Shout out to all the Hindus out there, by the way, that have basically figured out cosmology. I had no idea. That in like, the Vedas or the Bhagavad Gita.
What I meant when I was like talking about the world being like on a timeline, cosmology. That's how you put it. I just sound stupid when I try to explain it.
That y'all basically figured out space travel and stuff. But again, topic for a different video. Hinduism is not a single religion, and it doesn't have a single founder or, one specific doctrine or one set of rules. It's a little different, right? So like Christianity has, the Bible, Islam has the hadiths and the Quran, okay? But Hinduism is a little broader, okay? It's also much older than both of those. You got to think Hinduism is like an open world, like RPG. Maybe that's a good way to put it. It's basically like GTA in a way, where a bunch of people have their own paths. They have their own lore that just kind of keeps expanding over thousands of years. And Hinduism's lore, it goes deep. We're talking about cosmic battles, sages who have the power to curse people into oblivion, celestial beings who perform interdimensional travel, like Alex Jones has been talking about. So let's get into the details, all right? Okay. Hinduism, the open world RPG of religions, the ultimate role player game, all right?
Let's do it.
Like I said, unlike a lot of religions that have like a this is the way, quote unquote, doctrine, all right? Hinduism is a buffet of beliefs, an all you can eat, so to speak.
That's what I said earlier.
You don't have to follow necessarily one God, one path, or even one sacred book. Instead, it's a massive interconnected web of ideas, traditions, and philosophies that somehow still fall under one giant religious umbrella, okay? Imagine if a show never said, okay, guys, this is canon, and just let every fan theory have its own spin-off franchise. That's kind of Hinduism, okay? Some people worship Vishnu. Some worship Shiva. Some worship goddesses. Some worship everything. And even some worship nothing at all. And guess what? They're all Hindu. It's kind of nice, right? Like, I feel like I might be Hindu at this point. It seems broad enough. Hindus, correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't know. This seems pretty nice so far. The Hindus have been trying to recruit me for a long time, and this is a good sales pitch, right? 4,000-year-old spiritual ecosystem where multiple denominations evolved, fought for dominance, merged, split, and then somehow agreed in three major concepts. That's right. Under all these umbrellas that we're going to talk about, there's three major things that stick out: karma, dharma, and reincarnation.
I,
So what are those? Karma. Like I said, if Hinduism was a video game, karma would be the inescapable consequence of your player's actions. And yeah, you know, every move you make, every action, it's all being logged into the great cosmic ledger. But how does karma play out across the different Hindu sects? Well, this is where things get a little bit interesting. So karma is the backbone of Hinduism, but different denominations, whether you're Shaivism or Vaishnavism. Vaishnavism. I don't want to be disrespectful to the Vishnuites. Shaktism or Smartism, which Smartism is the most Indian one, right? Like what Indian doesn't want to be like, I'm the smart one? But those are some different sects, and they all have their own different spin on how karma works. So, for example, the Shivites, who worship Shiva as the ultimate reality, often view karma as this unavoidable force that can only be transcended through spiritual discipline and renunciation. They believe Shiva, the cosmic destroyer, also serves as a purifier, meaning your karmic baggage can be burned away through deep meditation and asceticism. I always mess that word up. Asceticism.
It's a lot of big words in here that I couldn't pronounce. That I think he's doing a good job. I'm like, I ain't even heard of these words, but he's doing a good job. I let him keep going.
I don't even know what it means.
To live an ascetic lifestyle, it's basically like to renounce all things of the earth, like to almost like it's almost like stoicism, you could say. Like you just get rid of all your worldly belongings, but even more so like your desires. Like you just live a perfectly sort of like monks would be ascetic, you could
Buddhism.
say. Buddhism type shit.
Not that they're the same.
Not that they're good golly. You're gonna get us killed by a Buddhist extremist. Essentially, if karma is this inescapable cycle of cause and effect, Shiva is the cosmic admin who basically, you know, can reset your debt if you're worthy.
Here is a bulletin.
Imagine this. You're 30 feet underground, digging through frozen earth with spoons and mess hall plates. Nazi guards patrol overhead. One wrong move, one loose pebble. Super important to have. Yeah, make decisions based on facts, not spin this November. Check them out. Now, Vaishnavites, on the other hand, take a slightly different approach. They see karma as deeply intertwined with bhakti, or the devotion to Vishnu and his avatars, who we will get to in a second. According to Vaishnavism, karma isn't just about cause and effect, it's about grace. Worshipping Vishnu and surrendering oneself to his will can accelerate karmic liberation. Think of this as like having like an inside connect to like the CEO of the universe. If you're devoted enough, you just might get like a little cosmic pardon. The Vaishnavites emphasize that love and devotion can override karma's bureaucratic red tape. Kind of sounds like Jesus, as a matter of fact, as we're kind of going through this. Meaning you don't necessarily have to grind lifetimes of good deeds if you have a deep faith in Vishnu. Now, Shaktism, which revolves around the worship of the Divine Mother, views karma through a lens of divine power and justice. In this tradition, karma isn't just some neutral force, it's actively governed by the goddess herself. Worshippers believe that karma can be reshaped or even mitigated through rituals, devotion, and seeking the goddess's intervention. Essentially, if you accumulate bad karma, you better hope that the Divine Mother is feeling merciful. And then there's Smartism. This is a more philosophical and all-inclusive approach that considers all major deities as manifestations of one supreme reality, the Brahman. Smartists take a more, how could I say, Advaita Vedanta approach. That's what I would call it. This essentially argues that karma and material worlds in and of themselves are a part of this illusion known as Maya. The ultimate goal isn't just good karma, it's realizing that karma, reincarnation, and even individual identity are all constructs of the mind. The only way out? Attain self-realization and recognize that you were never truly bound by karma in the first place. Basically finding out that all these side quests and stuff in the game was just for nothing, and that it's all really about waking up. It's not even about beating the game. It's just realizing that there's a game that you're playing in the first place. So despite all these...
I kind of like all of the explanations that he gave, and it's really cool. Like I said, how people perceive things differently, and people, like you said, same religion, but there's a broad spectrum of people that worship under Hinduism that believe different things. And so even when it comes to karma, you got these 4 different groups that believe these different things. And none of them are wrong. They just perceive karma differently. and I kind of liked them. I don't know which explanation I liked the most. I really like the sense of having a deep faith. But then I really like the last one as well as like realizing like all these side quests, like it's not, I guess, about the end, but about the journey. But it's not about the side quests and about beating the game, but realizing that you are playing the game. That it, you know what I'm saying? But to me, it's like it's not about the. Like I said, it's not about the end. It's not about reaching your destination, but it's about the journey to get there. That's kind of what that last one sounded like to me. I really like that.
These variations, all the
I gotta get some. My nose is killing me. It's clogged. These allergies. I will be right back. As soon as I got up, I'm able to breathe through it again. But I brought the spray with me just in case. And once the clog and annoy me again, we're gonna take care of it. All right. Well, let's continue.
Hindu sects agree that one thing is true: karma is real, and don't forget it. Unlike the modern, like instant karma memes, where someone cuts in line and then
I
like
love
they get punched in the face, or like they drop their coffee or something. Hindu karma is a long game. Your actions today might not catch up with you until your next lifetime, which is extremely unsatisfying, right? Like I want the guy that like cuts me off in traffic. I just immediately, just their car just ditties themselves. You know what I mean? Just like explodes. Not like gay, but like, how you put a bomb in Kid Cudi's car? Allegedly. Okay. Now we got Buddhist extremists and Diddy coming after us. This is all alleged. But if someone does cut me off, I want instant karma. I don't
My dad did always used to say, when doing something wrong or committing a crime, maybe you don't get caught, maybe lying to your parents, maybe you don't get caught. He used to always say, first, of course, everything you do in darkness will come to light. But the second, he was like, you might not pay now, right? But you will pay. At some point, you will pay. You will pay for the things that you do. So it might not be down, it might be 5 years down the line, it might be 20 years down the line. But at some point, you will pay.
like to see. I don't want them to get punished in 20 years when they're, or 20 lifetimes when they're like a butterfly.
Instant gratification.
Exactly.
Like a butterfly.
But again, that's not the purpose of Hinduism. It's not instant gratification. It's accepting that we're in a video game and to enlighten myself regardless. There's also this idea known as collective karma. This is another fascinating concept found across Hindu traditions. And it's not just individuals who rack up karma, but families, communities, and even nations generate collective karmic energy.
Ooh.
That's honestly fascinating. I feel like that explains a lot of like Hindu life. You know what I mean? Like all my Hindu friends, maybe this is like, I don't know, like a Western American bias, but like you have so many like Indian immigrants that come over and there's so much pressure to like do honor for your family, become like a doctor, like do something noble. And obviously like immigrants want to be successful. Like that's like a thing. But even I wonder if that happens even in India. Like I feel like there's like a nobility where like you want to like prove your family, like you want to do something honorable for your family. And I wonder if it's subconsciously connected to this karmic tradition across family lines. Pretty interesting.
Kind of like being on a team.
Yeah, basically,
What are you doing, dude? We're all going down with you.
Yeah, exactly. I strike out, but my sister's like, Mother Teresa. I'm like, according to Hindu philosophy, mass actions over centuries.
That'd be so bad for your sister, though, for you to be the one who ain't doing no good, and she got to carry the weight of building karma for both of y'all. Good karma.
Can influence the entire fate of societies. This is generational karma, the spiritual equivalent of like inheriting your great-great-grandfather's bad investments. I'm going to say Christianity has a pretty good take on this. Like, oh, you can't punish the child for the sins of the father.
I do like
But in Hinduism, it's like, yo, you better live a good life or else your kid's going to deal with your bullshit. So maybe that's actually good also. I don't know. Then there's also karma yoga, which, again, take yoga out of it. But this is basically action without attachment to the results, popularized by Krishna In the Bhagavad Gita, karma yoga teaches that the best way to deal with karma is to act with righteousness while remaining detached from personal gain. It's like playing the game of life with a total focus but zero ego. So you put in the work, but you don't obsess over the scoreboard. And
Okay.
ironically, by not obsessing over the outcome is how you win the game. It's kind of
I
nice.
like that.
It's like
I really do like that because it just says it's kind of like you said, you're not focused on the result. Results may come, but it's not because you're focused on the results. It's because you're putting in the work. So when you're putting in the work without focusing on the results, it allows you to continuously put in the work without stress. I feel like without worry, without anything kind of burdening you. Because when you're focused on the results, but you're putting in the work, and it's like you're not seeing the results, it's like, well, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I should try something else. But when you could care less about the results of your work, then yeah, you could that gives you the ability to continue putting in work.
very
In a
like Rick
sense,
Rubin
I
approach.
feel
It's like,
like
hey,
that
just
makes
make
no
stuff,
sense.
put it out. Don't worry about the outcome. Like, just have fun playing.
Yeah.
So, what's the takeaway? Hinduism's many denominations all agree that karma is the cosmic justice system that keeps everything in check, but they each offer unique strategies with dealing with it. So, whether you're seeking Shiva's liberation, Vishnu's grace, the goddess's intervention, or maybe just a philosophical escape, one thing's for sure, karma is always adding up. And that brings us to the next thing, Dharma. What is that? Sticking with this video game kind of comparison, Dharma would be your class, the main storyline, the quest progression all rolled into like one thing. It's not just about what you want to do, it's doing what you were designed to do.
Ooh.
And no, that doesn't mean you're stuck playing a character you hate. Think of it more like, I don't know, did you play Skyrim? Oh, I love Skyrim. How was it Khajiit? Okay. But you can think of like the Dragonborn from Skyrim. So whether you were born to be a warrior, a scholar, or even a cow, you are a part in this sort of cosmic video game. You have a part to play. Trees need to be trees. You know what I mean? They need to be doing tree stuff. Squirrels need to be doing squirrel stuff. And that is your dharmic duty. At its core, dharma is duty, but it's duty with nuance. It's like the glue holding Hindu society, ethics, and the entire cosmic order together. It's what tells a soldier to pick up a sword, a teacher to educate, monks to monk it up or whatever. It's why the Bhagavad Gita has Krishna telling Arjuna to stop whining and to get back to the battlefield, because fighting was Arjuna's dharma as a warrior. You don't get to just re-roll mid-game because you don't like your setup, all right? You have a duty according to your dharmic path.
I like
Did you have something to contribute, Chris? No. You're looking very skeptical.
It sounds like fate.
It's kind of like fate, but fate is something you can't control. Fate is just like, this is happening to me, and I have no agency to change it. Rather, dharma is like you have a purpose. You have a mission in life. You are born with some type of duty.
Yeah.
And perhaps you can choose that duty. Perhaps for you, that duty might be being a DJ. And you need to go out there and just live your dharmic duty to start just dropping beats. But instead, you're in here with me, like an idiot.
Me and Blondish.
Exactly, dude. But it also gets a little bit more complicated, okay?
I feel like that's very interesting in the sense of kind of Christianity. The way he's explaining it kind of sounds the same as what they would call you have a calling, or God gave you a certain gift, and you can choose whether or not you want to use it. You can choose whether or not you want to, go to your calling. But it's like you got to figure out what your calling is. So Dharma, you got to figure out what that duty is. And see, me, I've always struggled in a sense of like having a certain calling. I don't know, because I feel like we have free will to choose, and I guess having a calling doesn't take away anything from your free will. But yeah, so I guess in a sense, not everybody chooses to go with their calling, but figuring out what your calling or what your dharma is, I guess, is the thing. And how do you for sure know? Uh, I don't know. Y'all talk to me in the comment section about this one. This one got me a little stumped. Because I used to always say, like, there's nothing, like, I don't have a dream, or I don't have a job, or I don't have anything that I wouldn't do, like, for the rest of my life, or, like, the next 40 to 50 years. I want to do this every day for a living. Like, but then I figured it out. and I haven't even started it. Like, I want to be a food reviewer. Like, I just want to eat food from all over the world and give my take on it. And I feel like that would literally be my dream job. Will be my calling, might be my dharma. So I may need to get on that.
There's not just one type of dharma. You've got your personal duty, the svadharma, your social duty, the varna dharma, the universal duty, the sanatana dharma, and even your life stage duty, ashrama dharma. That's
Dharma and Greg.
Dude, ashrama dharma. That is awesome. I feel like I've met that guy. That guy dropped me off on 34th Street. This isn't just like a one-size-fits-all philosophy. It's multi-layered, kind of like a choose-your-own-destiny framework where every aspect of your existence has its own kind of rules. Dharma also evolves, right? A child's dharma isn't the same as an old guy's dharma. When you're young, your duty might be to learn, absorb knowledge, be kind, share. But as you grow, your responsibilities shift to work, provide. You become a father, take care of your children. And the stages of life provide a roadmap for fulfilling dharma at every stage of existence. Essentially, if life hands you different quests, you got to level up. And let's not forget, dharma isn't just about the individual duty. It's also social balance. Hindu society has long been structured around the concept of varna, or social class, which dictates certain responsibilities. While, a little controversial, you could say, in modern context, the idea originally revolved around the notion that everyone has a role to play in maintaining cosmic order. The king's dharma is to do king shit. The merchant's dharma is to sustain trade. And a laborer's dharma is to provide essential services. And Christos' dharma is just to be Skrillex.
Okay.
It's a system designed for balance. But like any human institution, there's going to be, some exploitation that goes along with it.
For sure.
Now, just as like a kind of sidebar, let's discuss cows. I want to do a whole different episode about this because a lot of people think that just because you're Hindu, it means like you worship cows or something, which is not true. Okay, some love a good cow. You know what I mean? If you go to India, you'll see specific sects. CTS.
I know what you're saying. I don't want to
get demonetized.
Nah, I know.
You'll see some specific sects. The Kama Sutra. Shout out to y'all. No, you'll see some specific subsets of Hinduism being very reverent to, like a bull or to like a heifer. But that's not all. So if you think the reverence for cows in Hinduism is just about not eating beef, you got to think bigger. The Dharmic worldview, every being has a place, in cows, seen as nurturing, life-giving creatures, they embody this selfless service and abundance. They're basically, kind of NPCs, non-playable characters, handing out side quests in the form of milk, fertilizer, labor, and they do their dharma by existing in harmony with nature.
There you go.
Hinduism places an enormous emphasis on interconnectedness, and the cow is the symbol of that harmony. So you can't just be, lopping their heads off. It'd be rude. The fascinating thing about dharma is that it's not all about personal ambition. You don't get to wake up one day and decide you'd rather, be a king than a farmer. That doesn't mean that there's no freedom. Rather, it means that the freedom comes from how well you perform within your role. You play your part right, contribute to the greater harmony of existence, and that's great. And try to opt out, and this is where things kind of fall apart a little bit. So, does dharma ever end? Great question, Christos. Some people say yes. Within some sects of Hinduism, they argue that dharma itself is transient, and that the ultimate dharma is to seek moksha. And this is liberation. This is to break free from the cycle of rebirth. The Advaita Vedanta, what I was talking about before, would say that dharma is necessarily only as long as you believe in the illusion of the self. Once you realize that all of existence is Brahman, the ultimate reality, the ultimate creator, dharma dissolves, and so does the need for worldly roles. So dharma isn't just like a set of rules. It is the fabric of the universe, right? Okay. Planets got to be doing planet stuff. Aliens got to be aliens. Like there is an order to the universe, and that is what we all exist within. This silent force that keeps everything in this perfect balance.
So maybe I'm doing my dharma without knowing that I'm doing my dharma like this. I may be doing my duty without knowing this is my duty, but I don't know. Well, I don't know. I don't like the sense of, I don't know, come to have it. Sorry, my nose. I don't like the sense of like, I guess having a worldly role because I want the ability to choose what role I have in the world than to Say, hey, you can do what you want, but I'm gonna give you this gift to get to do this certain thing. What if I want a different gift? Y'all talk to me in the comment section again. It's tough.
Now that brings us to reincarnation. This is obviously going to be big for Hindus. If you don't know anything about Hinduism, think about Hinduism, you probably think about reincarnation in some capacity. I actually did a whole episode on kids with past lives with my friend Shub, a great Hindu, and also with Miles. It's got a fuck Miles in the chat, by the way, while we're here. So reincarnation is, again, if we're doing video game vibes, you get to play again. You get to respawn. But the new conditions are based on your past performance. So in Hinduism, existence isn't just a one and done deal. It's an ongoing cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. This concept within Hinduism is known as samsara. Every action, every choice, and every moral decision carries over to your next playthrough. You screw up in this life, no problem. You get to try again, but here's a twist. You're going to be a cockroach. Oops. But maybe that's great, because maybe there's going to be a nuclear war, and then you survive. And now you get to try it again. Now, guess what? Now you're Chinese. Not that that's in the order of anything, but maybe you come back as a Chinese guy. And maybe you're living life as a Chinese dude. And then you die. You come back, as a different type of person. I'm not going to say one is better than the other. I'm just saying you get to come back, okay? And who knows what you get to come back as. And maybe you get little memories of your past life. I have a friend that did a past life regression, Alex Media. He did a past life regression, realized back in his past life, he was a white guy. And now he's a black dude. No comment on that. Maybe he lived a great life as a white guy. God, and Brahma was like, hey, guess what? Now you're going to be able to dunk. That's pretty sick.
Upgrade.
Guess what? Now you're going to be able to dunk. Oh, my days.
That's an upgrade, I would say. Hey, you get to be funny. You get to say all the words. That's pretty cool. Just saying. Reincarnation isn't just about getting another shot. It's about progression or regression based on your karma or your dharma. If you racked up good karma, congrats. You get to be reborn into a slightly higher social standing, a life of wisdom, or maybe you get to be a sage. Maybe you get to be, Keanu Reeves.
I'd kill for that. Actually, that would be...
No, if you kill for it, then you got to go back. You got to be Bill Cosby.
He had a good run.
He had a good run. And also is acquitted, I think. Or he's free.
Oh.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what that means legally.
Just free.
Now his eyes are all weird, so I don't know.
No, what happened to his eyes?
You haven't seen his eyes?
No.
Oh.
Let's get Bill Cosby's
He
eyes
looks all
up.
glaucoma up.
No, really?
Yeah.
Yo, someone get that guy Jay.
He looks like
quick.
a skinwalker.
No. Let me look. Oh, yeah, no, he's...
Yeah, that's a Candyman. Y'all ever seen the movie? That's Candyman, bro.
He's going through it a little bit.
So
He must have just been poking people in the eyes in his past life.
Oof. Yeah, that's... Oh, this one's going all the way off to the side. Yeah, that's a tough look. Dang.
Here is a bulletin.
In a secret CIA facility, doctors administered mysterious substances to unwitting Americans. Their goal? Mind control of how you live this life. And if you live perfectly, just below to join today's history. So, again, you get to kind of just level up or level down. It's all based off of how you live this life. And if you live perfectly, then you get to escape. You know what I mean? In Hindu cosmology, the universe doesn't just dish out arbitrary punishments. It gives you exactly what your past actions warrant.
Okay.
So, your next form is a reflection of your past deeds, making, this the most unforgiving but fair progression system ever designed. And this is where it gets crazier. Time isn't necessarily linear in Hindu reincarnation philosophy. Think about that. God exists outside of time. So some traditions suggest that rebirth doesn't just move forward, it can move sideways, backwards, or even drop you into another timeline entirely.
That's so wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Think about that. You live a great life and you get to go back and be like some medieval king. But I feel like that'd be worse. Actually, no. I
wouldn't want to go backwards.
I guess it depends.
No.
If you live like...
I wouldn't want to go backwards in a sense of all the technology and everything that we have in today's world. I wouldn't want to go back to a time where it didn't exist. But maybe in the past, they had technology that we couldn't even fathom because they built some things that were insane and that just disappeared in history. I don't know, but I kind of like this technology that we have now.
If you have like a terrible life here, terrible, right? Think like you just are living and it's like there's war everywhere, but you live a good life. I feel like being a medieval king would be better. But imagine you're having past life thoughts from a life that's in the future.
But you don't have past life thoughts.
Some people, allegedly.
Alex Media.
Alex Media, right? So, some people, I mean, all these kids that have past life regressions. That's crazy to think. You might have past life thoughts. I wonder if sometimes that's what deja vu is. Someone look into that.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's what we're here for.
That's a good
But
thought.
anyway, it's crazy. Yeah, if you exist outside of time, time's not linear. You could go back, forth, or even into a different dimension altogether. That's awesome. Imagine being reborn in the 1600s because your karmic tab says you gotta, you did good or bad. Maybe you do bad now, and then you got to go back all the way. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
So that basically means your past self could be walking around right now in another timeline, trying to make better choices than the ones that you did. I wonder if your past self could be alive right now.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Right.
That's crazy. But like, if you got to think like, or maybe your future past. All right, we're
I
getting there.
literally like to me, we're going outside of religion, we're going to time travel, and I literally all these questions that he's talking, I had when I'm thinking about time travel, I'm like, in a different timeline is past me and present me and future me all alive right now, but I guess it have to be in different timelines in a sense. Because how could I travel to the future when the future hasn't happened yet in this? So how can I go forward? But how? And then in the past, like, how can I go backwards and meet past me? Well, actually, that makes more sense to go meet past me, like kid me. But the going in the future kind of baffles me. Like, is there already a me in the future thinking about traveling to be present me? Don't know.
Everywhere all at once.
Think about this, though. Astrophysicists are trying to figure out time travel. Reincarnation has already got it.
Hindus already figured it out. See, just leave it to the Indians, bro. They're on
They're
it.
the best.
They're so smart. They're already going to space. They don't even need to go to space because they already know what's going on.
Because they already know what's
But
going
now
on.
these astrophysicists have to go there because they're like, oh, it's my dharmic duty. You know what I mean? I have to achieve samsara, so I have to continue, doing astrophysics because that's what I'm designed to do. So then we have these liberated beings. What is that? This is a soul who's broken free from the reincarnation cycle.
Okay.
But they voluntarily return to guide others. That's awesome. You're like a little Sherpa. Some traditions recognize them as gurus, enlightened masters, divine avatars, who choose to reincarnate again solely for the benefit of humanity. Hinduism is full of these guys, right? Adi Shankaracharya. That guy. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
Christos, you don't know anything. I'll educate you.
You don't know
He was a
anything.
good guy. He was known as an enlightened being or a liberated being. Regardless, supposedly, according to Hindu philosophy, they've come back. They've escaped this sort of karmic, dharmic rat race. They're done reincarnating. They could just go to nirvana, but instead, they come to help humanity. So shout out to them. So what about continuity, right? Do you carry over skills, personality traits, memories, any of that stuff? Great question, Christos. The jury is still out. Not everyone really knows. Some schools of thought suggest that reincarnation wipes the slate clean, leaving you with no recollections of past mistakes or triumphs. Others argue that
would be
you may not have direct memories, past life experiences, but these experiences might subtly shape your personality, fears, and affinities in your new life. Think about that. Maybe you died drowning in your past life. In your future life, you're afraid of water. Who knows? Ever have an inexplicable attraction to a certain culture, skill, or time period? You're a white guy that wants cornrows. Maybe you're a black dude. That's pretty cool. See, we're all connected, man. Remember that.
Maybe I was
That could be your soul,
bro. Low key, maybe I was like an animal because I have a fascination with like watching growing up. I used to love watching Animal Planet. Now, like I love watching these like predator shows with like big cats, lions, cheetahs, leopards. But then even outside of that, like polar bears, like I love watching how they all operate and how I don't know they live. Maybe I was an animal in the past life. I'm not sure.
soul's way of hinting at its past incarnations. Ever feel irrationally afraid of something? There you go. And then there's moksha. That's the end game. The ultimate goal isn't just another better life. It's just transcend the cycle altogether. Moksha is the equivalent of breaking free from the matrix, dissolving the ego, and merging with the divine. No more, karma, no more grinding, just blissful liberation from existence itself.
That's nice.
Different sects offer different routes to moksha. They say it's achieved through, pure devotion, bhakti, right? Remember that word? Others through discipline or knowledge, jnana. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. I'm sorry, Hindus. Correct me. I think it's jnana.
I feel like it'd be silent with the J.
So it's just nana?
Possibly.
Nana. Jnana.
I wish I...
Others through selfless action. This is like the karma yoga thing we were talking about.
Gotcha.
But no matter the path, one thing remains the same. Once you hit moksha, you're out of the cycle for good. Now you're just living in divine communication with the ultimate creator. Now, not everyone is aiming for moksha right away. Some people are focused on leveling up in the material world, playing out their karmic debts, stacking up good deeds to ensure a more comfortable, next incarnation. And this is why Hinduism accommodates a range of spiritual goals. Most other religions, it's like, die, go see God. But in Hinduism, it's like, die, try again, a little better, a little worse, da-da-da, and then moksha. So, just to recap, Hinduism basically, believes across all, sects that your actions affect your future lives, and the goal is to eventually level up and get to, God tier enlightenment. Right? Pretty simple. But this is where it gets complicated. So, though, again, we went through the three main things, right? You got karma, dharma, reincarnation. But now someone said to you, like, oh, you're a Christian, so you must be the exact same as every other Christian. You'd be like, well, we have Catholicism, we have Protestantism, we have like Eastern Orthodox, Southern Baptist, Mormons, which some people don't even include. I like Mormons, for the record. Shout out to Mormons. I think y'all are cool. You've got some crazy stuff in that book, though. But I'm cool with y'all. So let's get into the four main branches, all right?
Got some crazy stuff in that book, though. But I'm cool with y'all. Definitely cool with anyone. Like, whether you believe in a religion or you don't believe in anything or whatever religion you believe in. As long as it's not a religion that teaches you to do evil, I feel like, in a sense. But I feel like, in a sense, a lot of people can misinterpret things and feel like they're being told to do evil. I don't know. But I'm just cool with people with all different kinds of beliefs is what I'm trying to say.
You got karma, dharma, reincarnation. Everyone kind of agrees with that, but they do not agree on some of the other stuff, all right? So, if you ever wonder why, like, some Hindus worship Krishna, while others are obsessed with Shiva, or some just are deep into the goddess worship, while others just sort of meditate on universal oneness, well, now you know. Hinduism is not a single religion, but a vast spiritual ecosystem of countless paths, each offering a different way to understand the universe. So, let's start with Vaishnavism. In Hinduism, Vishnu would be the undisputed prom king, all right? People love Vishnu. So, Vaishnavites would be the most dedicated fan club.
Yes.
But we're not talking about just some casual appreciation, all right? This is full-blown, all-in, lifelong devotion to the god of preservation, order, and cosmic balance. Vishnu is a big deal. He's a divine figure who steps in when the universe is teetering on the edge of chaos, restoring order and ensuring the cosmos don't just explode like Armageddon or something. His role is to preserve Dharma while making sure the whole system doesn't just collapse in on itself, right? So depicted with 4 arms, here's a picture. You can see, very efficient. He's got a conch shell.
Conch shell.
I always miss something. I always want to say conch shell, but it's not. It's conch shell. A discus, a lotus, and a mace, each symbolizing different aspects of cosmic power. Vishnu doesn't just show up in his original form. Sometimes he sends an avatar, an incarnation.
Oh.
That's similar to the other word, reincarnation. He sends an avatar to handle things in the mortal realm. Think of these avatars as different versions of Vishnu, each tailored for a specific mission. So some of the very famous ones, obviously Krishna, Rama, Narasimha, Vamana, and Kalki. Kalki, we actually covered in Hindu eschatology. This is an episode I did with my friend Joey Avery going through all the end time stories. And Kalki, as we've said before, is an incarnation of Vishnu that's going to come and bring in the end of this yuga. Krishna, often regarded as Hinduism's rock star, he's charming, mischievous, and very wise. He delivers the Bhagavad Gita and the life-changing wisdom with it, while also stealing butter and charming everybody in sight. Rama, on the other hand, is the epitome of honor, duty, and a perfect ruler. If Krishna is like the lead singer, Rama is like the older brother who never misses a show. He's just always fighting for you, know? And then
I love
you
that.
got
I love
Narasima. Narasima, I like that. That's a half lion, half man, and represents Vishnu when he's going beast, when diplomacy isn't an option.
Oh,
And then Vamana, that might be the coolest one. This is an avatar who's basically like a dwarf. Pretty cool.
okay.
Outsmarts like a demon king, reclaims the universe in a couple steps.
Oh, I feel like
because
I feel like I did hear about that in a certain video. I can't remember the video, but I feel like I have learned about that.
why fight when you can outsmart, right?
Facts.
Very Indian. Then there's Kalki. This is one I talked about before. This is Vishnu's yet to arrive apocalyptic avatar who's prophesied to ride in on a white horse and bring an end to the current age of darkness and corruption. Vaishnavism is deeply rooted in bhakti. This is this concept that means the absolute devotion to Vishnu. If other branches of Hinduism lean into philosophy or meditation, Vaishnavites take a different approach. Forget all that, just love God and everything and da-da-da-da. Bhakti is highly emotional and personal. Songs, prayers, festivals, temples, all these kind of rituals are all centered around feeling Vishnu's presence. This is why Vaishnavism is often compared to like evangelical Christianity. It's like very charismatic. There's a deep devotion, a passionate worship, and a strong emphasis on personal connection with the divine. Now, again, Vaishnavism, just like evangelical Christianity, is not a monolith. Within it, there are subgroups that interpret Vishnu's worship in their own unique ways. Sri Vaishnavism focuses on Vishnu and his consort Lakshmi as the ultimate divine duo. And then there's Gaudiya Vaishnavism, known for inspiring the Hare Krishna movement, which, if you're familiar with like psychedelic rock in the 60s and 70s, which is very influential. They took over like college campuses and stuff. And this centers on Krishna worship and the constant chanting of his name as the highest spiritual practice. And then there's Pushti Marg, and this is a more relaxed approach. This is emphasizing love, grace over, the super, super strict ritual observance that some of these other sects have. And then you got the Madhva tradition, which takes like a more hardline monotheistic stance, asserting that Vishnu is the only God that matters with no room for alternative interpretations. And then, Vaishnavism plays a significant role in Hinduism, as it is the largest sect, meaning that if you meet a Hindu, there's a good chance that they're a Vaishnavite. Many of Hinduism's most well-known stories, festivals, and a lot of their traditions come from Vaishnavite texts. Celebrations like Diwali or Holi are closely tied to Vishnu's avatars, with Rama's return being the central story of Diwali, and Krishna's colorful antics inspiring Holi. The teachings of Krishna, especially in the Bhagavad Gita, have influenced millions of people worldwide, not just Hindus, but very, very many spiritual seekers from different backgrounds. So Vaishnavism keeps Hinduism's devotional aspect alive and thriving, ensuring that divine love remains at the heart of religious life. But what if you're not into a god who acts like this cosmic father figure? What if you are a Hindu, but you prefer a deity that's more about destruction, chaos, the Limp Bizkit of Hinduism? All right. I mean, that Limp Bizkit performance, Woodstock 99, you've seen that? Oh, it's unbelievable. Break stuff. Pfft, goes crazy. Give me something to break. So if that's your vibe, then maybe Shaivism.
Shaivism. Okay.
That's the one for you. It's one of the major denominations of Hinduism, centered around the worship of Shiva, the god of destruction. But look, don't let the title fool you. This isn't just mindless devastation and doom. Shiva is the destroyer in a far deeper, more philosophical sense. His destruction is about breaking down illusions, shattering the ego, dissolving attachments that prevent spiritual enlightenment. So Shivites believe that by embracing Shiva's wisdom and renouncing worldly distractions, they can transcend the material world and reach ultimate liberation, which again, moksha. It goes for this sect as well.
I do like that. I feel like that's God of destruction in a perfect way. Breaking down all of these materialistic things to be able to enlighten yourself about like what's really important in life. And I don't know, see life from a whole different perspective, right? That most people are incapable of seeing life. I like this video. I feel like I'm learning a decent amount about Hinduism in this video alone. Now, y'all comment in the comment section, tell me whether you agree with everything you're saying or disagree. and I'm listening and I'm learning stuff that ain't right, or I'm learning stuff that is about Hinduism.
Moksha, this is
That's
again the
how it
highest
works.
goal of the Shivite spiritual journey. This is where the soul merges with the divine and is freed from the cycle of rebirth. Other Hindu sects that focus on grand temples and elaborate rituals, Shivites tend to be more strict and meditative in their approach to spirituality. These are hardcore minimalists of Hinduism, yogis, ascetics, wandering monks who give up material wealth and comfort in pursuit of divine knowledge. Many Shivite practitioners retreat to the mountains or the forest to meditate in solitude, mirroring Shiva's own legendary lifestyle. He's often depicted sitting in deep meditation atop, Mount Kailash, far from the concerns of mortal life. It is believed that those who successfully attain a deep state of meditation aligned with Shiva can access this heightened awareness beyond ordinary perception. Perhaps the most interesting and fascinating aspects of Shiva is the paradoxical nature that this deity, ascertains. On one hand, he's the ultimate ascetic, an eternal meditating sage who, exists outside of time and space. But on the other hand, he's wild and an unpredictable force of nature.
He's wild.
Dancing in the form of Nataraja, the cosmic dancer, whose rhythmic movements symbolize the perpetual cycle of creation and destruction. His physical appearance reflects his duality. Let's take a look. Matted locks, ash-covered skin, a third eye that can incinerate anything with a single glance, like Terminator. That's sick. He's both a figure of peace, but also immense power. His weapon of choice, yes, a trident, representing the three fundamental aspects of existence: creation, preservation, destruction.
Love that. Absolutely love
Shiva is
that.
also associated with practices that push the boundaries of conventional spirituality, often depicted with this kind of chill demeanor. He resides in the icy Himalayas and is linked to the use of herbs, particularly those associated with transcendental states of consciousness, aka drugs. Many Shivites, sometimes known as sadhus or holy men, follow in this tradition, using meditation, ascetic practices, and sometimes even psychoactive substances to deepen their connection to the divine. I just guessed that, but turns out I'm right. The practice of renunciation, where followers abandon all their material possessions and dedicate themselves entirely to these spiritual pursuits, is highly regarded in Shaivism.
Yeah, I feel like, dang, you definitely got to be invited, because I feel like that's so hard to abandon all of your earthly possessions, bro. Like, just give them all up. Oh, that's tough. Talk to me in the comment section. What do you guys think? Would you guys abandon all of your earthly possessions? Have any of you guys abandoned all of your earthly possessions to be enlightened, I guess, into a higher sense? I don't know. I mean, I feel like you really, truly, truly have to believe in order to do that. Like, and that's tough. Yeah. Talk to me in the comment section. That one's tough.
People are known as sannyasis, and they often smear their bodies with ash, symbolizing the impermanence of the material life and the burning away of worldly desires. Have you ever seen that video of the guy that goes and interviews this ascetic monk? It's crazy. Apparently this monk is like technically a cannibal.
Okay.
And he's like covered in ash. It's awesome. We should get the video of it here, but it's awesome. But yeah, I'm assuming that guy is a Shivite. A Shivite. And yeah, he's big on Shiva. So again, these ashes showing death, destruction, rebirth, etc. The most religious traditions are about following the rules. So Advaita Shaivism is the one that figures out the loopholes. So remember that term we talked about earlier. This is a sect that isn't about bowing, begging, or suffering your way to enlightenment. It's about realizing that you already are enlightened. That's right.
Oh.
You, listening right now, this chaotic mess, you are technically divine, according to this specific sect, known as Kashmir Shaivism, or followers of Advaita Shaivism. You're already there. While the other branches of Hinduism are busy arguing over which god is the coolest, Advaita Shaivism just kind of chills, sips on some chai, and just is like, yeah, dude, it's you.
Just is like, yeah, dude.
You're already there. You are a god in your own right. You have God within you. That's right. You, your neighbor, the annoying dog that shits on your sidewalk, the email you've been avoiding, and even your terrible taste in TV It's all just
Oh,
manifestations of Shiva playing hide and seek with itself.
I got
This is
good
like
taste in
deep cut, I
TV.
feel like, Hindu philosophy. I don't even really understand how all this plays out. If there's any Shivites listening to this, please correct me. Tell me what I'm missing on this part.
Yeah.
Like, is there a feeling of like asceticism? Is there a God within you? Am I off on that? I'd love to know. All right, let's go even more deep cut, subculture within a subculture. All right, this is Lingayat Shivism. Now, if
Oh,
mainstream Shivism is the wise old monk sitting in a Himalayan cave, the Lingayat Shivism is the punk rock teenager storming out of the temple, flipping, the caste system, the bird, and declaring that spirituality doesn't need all this extra baggage. This sect
mm,
isn't just another, offshoot of Hinduism. It's this full-blown Reformation movement that looked at the rigid societal hierarchy and said, yeah, we're not doing that.
I feel that.
Founded in the 12th century by this philosopher, Saint Basava, Lingyat Shivism was less about following the rules and more about torching the ones that didn't make sense. Basava wasn't just another guru
I like
handing out
that.
cryptic wisdom. He was a full-on social reformer who saw the caste system, all these rituals, and all these, priestly privileges as outdated nonsense. Kind of sick, to be honest with you. His followers, the Lingyats, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. Lingayats, the Lingayats. I like Lingayats. Built a movement centered around direct devotion to Shiva and a complete rejection of the oppressive norms of traditional Hinduism. Now I feel like this is going to get controversial. Now, like a lot of Hinduism is tied to like the caste system, for example, Lingayats reject it entirely. They believe that devotion to Shiva is what matters, not what family you're born into or whether some Brahmin gave you divine approval. Unlike Shivites who worship Shiva in various forms, Lingayats focus on Ishtalinga, a personal representation of Shiva worn around the neck.
Oh,
It's not just jewelry, it's a portable deity, a direct hotline to the divine, and a constant reminder that spirituality isn't confined to temples or anything like that. What about the Vedic scriptures? What about that, huh? Lingayats toss it aside. They say, hey, we don't need it. Their teachings come from vachanas, poetic verses that emphasize social justice, equality, and direct connection to God. Well, a lot of Hindu sects love a good statue or, some type of grand ritual. The Lingayats are all about simplicity. No temple worship, no animal sacrifices, just no nonsense connection to Shiva. Sounds pretty punk rock to me, to be honest with you. In modern India, Lingayats continue to be a powerful socio-political force, particularly in Karnataka, where they make up a significant portion of the population. Their demand for official recognition as a distinct religion has sparked endless debates, and depending on who you ask, whether, radical reformers or inconvenient troublemakers who refuse to blend into the larger Hindu umbrella. I mean, that's pretty interesting.
yeah.
That's like Hinduism's
Agreed.
countercultural movement, Lingayat Shivism. It challenges religious hierarchy and strips spirituality down to the rawest forms. Some people don't even technically recognize it as like a subset. Some people see it as like a complete, separate, religion in some capacities. It's pretty fascinating. Now, what about the Agoris? So Shivism also contains Agoris, who are basically the spiritual, like, rock stars, I guess, of like Hinduism. And they're equal parts terrifying and fascinating. Oh, dude, I think the Agoris are the ones those are like that's the one I was talking about before, the cannibal guy. I remember that now, the Agoris. So while some monks in Hinduism, they're meditating in caves or whatever, the Agoris are out there dunking themselves in cremation ashes. That's right. Drinking from skull cups called kapala and throwing
wow.
basically every societal norm out the window because they believe that everything, life, death, purity, and even impurity is just Shiva. So the Agoris, they will prey on cremation grounds because what better way to conquer, the fear of death than to cover yourself in it. It's interesting.
Okay.
Again, we listen and we don't judge.
Uh-uh.
They're covered in ashes of the dead and seed decay is just another illusion. Some even take it further and practice Shava Sadhana. This is meditation on top of a literal corpse because nothing screams spiritual growth like, a dead body is a yoga mat.
I like the sense of like destroying all the rules that don't make sense. But in a sense, they may not make sense to you, but they may make sense to other people. But I like that in a sense because me, like who believes in Christianity, when I read the Bible, to me, they're are some contradictory things, and then there are rules that to me don't make sense. Maybe I'm just not understanding them, but to me, I don't get it. They don't make sense to me, and I'm like, that don't sound right at all. So, um, to me, I feel like I can understand that, and I can relate to that one.
The goal is to remove past fear, attachment, and petty concerns of polite society. It's pretty hardcore. The Agoris, those are real ones, dude. Some people have said that they're cannibals, which is
Oh,
crazy. I mean, Indian food messes my stomach up sometimes. What about just an Indian? What do you think? Spicy?
what
Get
do
some
you
heartburn.
think?
Probably.
Spicy?
If I had to guess. I don't know. I've never eaten an Indian.
Heartburn?
Also, your skin absorbs whatever you put on it. So technically, you're eating the
Oh,
cremated
that's a good
ashes.
point. So you are absorbing it. Whoa. And the Agoris are pretty punk rock, all right? Actually, not even punk rock, just regular rock.
Okay.
Alcohol, marijuana, other intoxicants, they're not just a good time. They're tools to break through the normal perceptions and touch something deeper. To them, altered states aren't distractions, but shortcuts to enlightenment that bypass the process of rational thought.
Oh,
So,
I like that.
you might be a gory if you're listening to this. You like doing drugs, clothing, you don't like it. Comfort, who cares? A lot of Agoris, they roam naked. Not like as a gimmick, but like as a symbol of complete detachment from society's norms. You might, if you're listening to this right now and you're like, this sounds pretty cool, you might be an Agori. Look into it. Yeah.
Look into
So
it.
Agoris don't just worship Shiva, they like the alter ego, the Bhairava. In Shiva, if you could see Shiva as like, the laid back yogi on that mountain we were talking about, Bhairava is the no-nonsense, skull-wielding enforcer who means business. Bhairava is associated with destruction and transcendence and grants Agoris supernatural abilities that protects them from getting lost in their practices. I mean, that's pretty sweet, dude. Agoris are wild. All right, now we could sit here and talk about Shaivism all day. I mean, there's way more to discuss with this. So if you're a Shaivite, I'm sorry if I'm, moving on too quickly. But there's a lot to cover, okay? So let's move on to Shaktism, all right? Shaktism, or if you're a Shakti, this is not just, another one of those random branches of Hinduism. This one is fascinating because it doesn't just acknowledge female power, but outright worships it. That's right. For all you racists out there that think Hindus don't respect women, Shaktis, they worship women,
Oh,
I think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's any Shaktis listening to this, but, imagine your male-dominated pantheons of gods. Shaktism is where the real energy is. By energy, we mean Shakti, this cosmic force that powers the entire universe,
oh,
because girls run the world. At its
who
core,
run the world? Girls. Who run the world? Girls. Shaktiism. I love this. I love this. So these believers believe in power, worshiping. I guess the goddesses, or a goddess worshiping women god. I don't know how you say it, but I feel like it's incredible. It's amazing. Like that so many different subgroups fall under the category of Hinduism. Like, so again, like I said early in the beginning of the video, so many different beliefs, but all fall under the umbrella of one religion.
Shaktism revolves around the worship of Shakti, this divine feminine energy that manifests in a bunch of different badass goddesses, all right? Some of the most intense, inspiring deities belong to the sect, but they don't mess around. For example, take Kali, okay? Terrifying, skull-wearing warrior mom
Oh,
who doesn't just slay demons, but dances on their bodies, like an Agori.
okay.
She's the kind of goddess who would show up in your nightmares,
Oh,
and just start messing stuff up. And then there's Durga, the multi-armed powerhouse who rides a lion and carries an arsenal of weapons. I mean, this girl is awesome.
hey. Yeah.
These goddesses aren't just here to like give you a gentle blessing. They're here to remind you of who's really in charge, women. And then there's Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth and prosperity, who makes it clear that divine femininity isn't just about power, but also abundance, good fortune. And then there's the Saraswati, the goddess of wisdom, creativity, and music. This is a cosmic scholar who makes sure that all intelligence gets its fair share of divine recognition. It's kind of nice. Shaktism. It's got these badass women flying around,
Yeah.
knocking people's heads off. And let the record show, Shaktism doesn't just do passive spirituality. So unlike other Hindu denominations that focus on the philosophical introspection or devotional love, Shaktism leans hard into Tantra, a spiritual path that embraces both the physical and the metaphysical.
Oh.
So this is like rituals, meditations, and sometimes there's a thing that Westerners call tantric sex. Okay, before you get all bricked up. Let's clarify. It's not what you think. Tantra isn't just about stretching.
Before you get all bricked up, let's clarify.
Your endurance. It's about channeling divine energy and achieving spiritual enlightenment and breaking free from the illusions of reality. So, sorry if you're trying to catch a beat to this. All right, that's not what this is about. Okay, Tantra and Shaktism is highly ritualistic and deeply rooted in practices that merge the material and the spiritual worlds. Some different versions of Shaktism incorporate chanting, fire ceremonies, and meditation, while some engage in more esoteric techniques designed to awaken Kundalini energy, a dormant force believed to reside at the base of the spine, waiting to rise through the chakras to bring about spiritual awakening. The idea is that true liberation comes from not rejecting the world, but fully engaging with it, understanding that divinity is present in all aspects of life, including, the sensual. One of the most fascinating things about Shaktism is how it flips the traditional power structure on its head. So imagine most religions, they have this divine, masculine, central figure, and sometimes there's some women, playing like a supporting role, but not in Shaktism. Goddesses aren't just important, they are the main event. Male god, the dudes, the bros, like Shiva, they're depicted as completely powerless without Shakti. That's right. Without divine feminine energy, the universe itself would just sit there, useless, inert, no abundance, nothing to bring forth life. Shiva himself is often seen as a meditative ascetic until awakened by Shakti's dynamic energy. Without her, he is stillness without movement, potential without action. Now, let's talk about worship, all right? Shaktism isn't just about saying prayers and lighting incense. It's about full-on immersive devotion. Followers engage in elaborate festivals, vibrant rituals, and intense spiritual practices. So, some forms of Shaktism, specifically in like Bengal and Nepal, they involve a blood sacrifice. Apparently, I don't know. I'm just reading this for the first time. That's wild. Is that true? Zach, we got to double check that.
Yeah, please.
Blood sacrifice. It's mostly symbolic. Mostly. But the point is clear. Devotion to the goddess isn't just about words, it's about actions. Okay? So you got the Durga Puja is one of the biggest Hindu festivals dedicated to Shakti, where the entire cities light up. You got these giant idols that are worshipped in days of celebration, bringing communities together in a stunning display of devotion. Shaktism's influence stretches beyond the religious sphere, deeply embedding itself in Indian cultural identity, feminism, spiritual philosophy. The empowerment of the divine feminine isn't just an abstract concept. It influences literature, politics, social movements. From ancient scriptures to modern empowerment narratives, Shakti remains a force to be reckoned with.
Okay.
I like that.
Me too.
That's interesting.
That's
awesome. I never knew that about some Hindus will actually worship Shakti.
And the blood sacrifice is animal blood.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I probably should have mentioned that.
Yeah.
Goats.
Yeah.
Probably goats, right?
But I mean, I put two and two together. Figured that out. That it more than likely was going to be animal blood, or right, people be getting arrested out here.
Not cows.
Definitely not cows. Yeah. Humans?
Maybe the group that we were talking about before.
A Vaishnavite or an Agori?
The Agoris.
Oh, they could team up. The Shaktis and the Agoris.
They could team up.
They could be like, hey, we need a blood sacrifice. The Agoris are like, we're trying to free ourselves from death and liberate from the material world. Now, let's talk about Smartism, okay?
Okay.
This is kind of like the all-encompassing version. You don't have to choose just one god. You can worship all of them. It's kind of nice. Kind of a catch-all. So maybe if you're a little indecisive, you don't want to choose a side, Team Shiva, Vishnu, Shakti, Smartism is here to tell you, porque no los dos. This is Hinduism's all-inclusive, non-denominational greatest hits. Smartists believe that all gods are just different forms of the same divine source, meaning you don't have to pledge allegiance to one deity. You get the full bundle. Yeah. No Netflix, Hulu, Prime, no, cable. Smartism isn't about passionate, single-minded devotion to one god, right? Like Shaivism or Vaishnavism. Instead, it's like this kind of intellectual cousin that steps back and he's like, bro, Just look at the big picture, dude. It's about recognizing all the gods. Everything. Ganesh, Surya, Vishnu. It's all the same, man. It's all part of one ultimate reality known as Brahman. In a way, Smartism is Hinduism's answer to the it's all connected conspiracy theory, right? Except maybe like the Clintons or lizards or something. This makes Smartism perfect for people who like their spirituality with a side of logic and the sprinkle of philosophical detachment, okay? Unlike more ritual-heavy sects, right, Smartism leans into the Advaita Vedanta, which we mentioned earlier, is a school of thought that says the ultimate goal is to realize that everything, including you, is already a part of God, already a part of Brahman. You don't need to pick a deity and obsess over it. You just need to wake up and be like, yo, you're in a game, dude. Step out. Dude. The main practice of Smartism is Jnana Yoga, with a silent J still. We don't know exactly. Someone correct me. Or this is what's known as the path of knowledge. This means that instead of spending hours performing rituals or chanting names, Smartas sit back, contemplate existence, read up on some ancient scriptures, have a nice existential conversation. This sounds like what I do on this podcast, to be honest with you. But don't get it wrong, okay? Smartas, they still worship, all right? It's just that the way that they do it is more relaxed, is more flexible, you know? They typically recognize 6 major deities, some that we've already talked about. You got Vishnu, Shiva, Shakti, Ganesh, Surya, and Skanda. And if you want to worship one over the others, go for it. If you want to mix and match, that's fine. The idea is that all of these gods are just different doorways to the same truth. Worship in Smartism is usually less about this grand emotional devotion and more about a quiet reverence. They have strong traditions of setting up home altars with idols, lighting some incense, offering some food, and then going about their day. No pressure. No, oh, you're God. Just chill. Open-minded. What makes Smartism stand out is its adaptability, right? It's like an Indian Swiss Army knife. Flexible, multifunctional. Whether you're drawn to the ascetic wisdom of Shiva, the disciplined devotion of Vishnu, the raw, feminine power of Shakti, Smartism says, hey, nice, you get to do that. But let's not forget, while Smartism sounds like, you know, just your weed-smoking cousin, it's got deep intellectual roots, all right? Some of Hinduism's greatest thinkers and philosophers were Smartas, including that guy we talked about before, Adi Shankaracharya, that guy. He essentially built the foundation of Advaita Vedanta. His teachings emphasize the unity of all deities under the concept of the Brahman, making him one, if not the most influential spiritual minds in Hindu history. His philosophy basically boils down to one radical idea. Everything is one. You, me, this tent.
I do love that because I do feel like everything like is one in a sense. Like everything is just connected. Can I explain it? Probably not. It'd sound like absolute gibberish if I tried. But I do believe in a sense that everything here on Earth and in the universe, in the galaxy, and however big it expands and however big it goes, everything is one.
And Christos' full head of hair, the universe, it's all just different manifestations of the same divine source. So, if you've ever thought about picking a single path in a religion, or maybe a single genre of music to listen to for the rest of your life, Smartism could be the answer. It gives you the entire playlist. You get to shuffle through divine experiences at your own pace. Kind of a Cheesecake Factory, right? Oh, what do we get? Italian, Factory. French. Hey, go to Cheesecake Factory. They got everything. So now you know all the major denominations. Which one are you going for? Are you a Shiva worshiping ascetic? A goddess revering warrior? I don't know, maybe a passionate Vishnu devotee? Or maybe you're a Smarta, right? Maybe you're a Smartist, taking the laid-back, all-inclusive approach. Christos, what do you think? Which one are you going to be?
I'm an ally, so I'm going with the Vishnu.
Vishnavites.
Yes, because they believe in the females.
That's the... did you... Christos.
Am I not listening?
It's the Shaktis that believe in...
The Shaktis. That's...
You horny... You are... Christos has been on one Tinder date, and he's like, oh... God, worship
1.5.
The future's female, dude. No, I mean, the Shaktis are cool. I respect that, but
I like Smartism.
Which one are you?
The Smartas seem like the coolest to me.
That sounds like you,
right? It's just kind of open-minded. Yeah, it's like, all right, let's just
take a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Let's just kind of field everything, kind of see where everyone lies.
Exactly.
Vaishnavites have the coolest holidays, though.
What are their holidays?
That's Holi, Diwali, like all the big ones.
Ooh.
Most Hindus are Vaishnavites. And then
Oh,
the
But if you're Smartism, you get to do all of those
that's
anyway.
a good point. So yeah,
for
Smartism.
real?
That's what I'm
Oh,
picking.
every day.
But let me know if I'm wrong. Tell me if there's Hindus. Comment. Let's keep it civil though. You know, we don't need to
Keep
make
it
a whole
simple.
race war or something. But let me know. What do you think? What is your tradition? Did you convert? Why did you pick the tradition you converted to? And yeah, I'd love to know what y'all think. I'm fascinated by Hinduism. I find it very charming. I like all my Hindu friends. I find that they have like a real reverence and like an appreciation for the divine. I think it's a very interesting faith, and yeah, I have a lot of respect for all the Hindus out there that are listening to this program. And there's also something to be said that, like, you know, some, if not most, to my memory, this is not even written down. Zach didn't do any research on this. Are not polytheistic. Like a lot of people are like, oh, they're polytheistic, right? Are they pantheistic? You know, monotheistic? What are they? Depends on your tradition. Some see like Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma, you know, like the creator, the preserver, the destroyer, as three versions, like some trinity of the ultimate God, the Brahman, and that there is one God. So there are a lot of Hindus that are actually monotheistic that just honor the Brahman, but then see three different versions of it in this trinity, kind of like Christians.
Okay.
So if there's any Hindus out there listening, correct me on that also. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of Camp, Religion Camp specifically. Let me know what you think of this episode. If you're not Hindu, I'd be so curious to know what you think about our Hindu brothers listening to it. If you are Hindu, I'd love to know what you think. Did I get any of this wrong? What did I miss? Correct me, please, because like I said, I am just a visitor in the space
Yes.
of Hindus. And I'd love to go to India one day and see it all up close.
Same.
Maybe for Holi.
Same.
I think that'd be kind of fun. Throw some powdered gender reveal colors and stuff. Anyway, appreciate y'all, and we will see you next time. Namaste, and peace be with you. If you've made it to the end of this episode, you are clearly...
Absolutely loved that video. I guess my thoughts on it was I knew, I guess, a little bit about Hinduism coming in because I have watched a decent amount of videos explaining different parts of it. Like I said, I love the fact that you could have so many different subgroups and so many different beliefs under the umbrella of one religion. If I had to choose one, I would go Smartism. Kind of belief in all of these different type of subgroups. But it's just kind of really, it's a fascinating, absolutely fascinating religion for me to kind of take a step back, look at from an outside perspective, it'd be like so much makes sense. Like there's videos I reacted to about Hinduism where I'm just like, so much makes sense. Like a lot of the things that they're talking about are thoughts I've already had in my head for so long, and I've questioned, and it's absolutely scary sometimes. Like scary in the sense of like it almost feels like some of these videos read my mind and they put my thoughts into words, and it's like wow. Y'all talk to me in the comment section though. Was everything that he was talking about like correct? Was some of it wrong? I'd love to hear from you guys, and if you've converted or if you're in belong to one of these subgroups of Hinduism, which one is it? Why? If you converted, why did you choose to convert? Talk to me. That's all we got. If you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, check out the next. I'll see y'all next time.